Hi, everybody on LinkedIn. This is Getting in Your Business I can't speak. This is Getting in Your Business with Coach Sandra, and my guest today is Julie Morey. And it's an interesting connection for me because I think this is like an organic connection. Like we connected right through LinkedIn. You're not in one of my other groups, so this is really exciting for me. And I was looking at your profile, and I noticed that you are not a coach. Is that correct?
I'm not.
So you're my second non-coach, and I want everybody to know that you do not have to be a coach. Just have to have a business here that you want to promote, and I want to find out all about that. So I'm really excited to speak to you because of that. And tell me about what you do and why you are doing what you do, because that is why I started this in the first place. So please let me know, Julie.
Awesome. All right. Well, I apologize in advance if you hear children running around behind me. But it's the nature of working from home.
If my dog barks, it's the same thing. So go for it.
So I am passionate about the single or solo mom by choice. About 5 years ago, when I was 40, I still had not met anyone despite all of my best efforts, including even hiring a matchmaker at one point. I mean, if you name the dating site, I have tried it for sure. And I was in this space where I was feeling that an intense pressure. Like every date was an evaluation of whether this would work or not and how long we would date before we could get married, because I wanted a child. And I realized that this was a very unhealthy place to be in. And also probably why at this point dating was not fairly successful. And I did this, there was a point where I had this mind shift. And I realized that I was giving my power away on every single date by trying to find a person to give me the dream that I wanted. And that instead I needed to take that dream into my own hands. There was no reason that if I wanted a child, I could not choose to do that on my own.
Right.
And that shift was so empowering to me. And I had also kind of been caught up in this idea of what society would think of me having a kid on my own, because there's all these stereotypes around single moms. And again, I realized at that point that society is changing, and that really that stereotype is, there are some people that still hold it, but in general, people are beginning to really understand that family is about love and relationships, not about whether there's two parents in the household or not.
That is my hope. The judgment in any format drives me crazy. So keep going, keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, and I did so, and since I've done research that has shown that what makes a family or a child successful as an adult is actually the lack of conflict in the home. So it's not whether there's one parent or two, it's whether they were raised in a loving household. So I made that decision. I was almost 40 at this point, and so I quickly started looking at sperm donors. My sister helped, and I found a donor, and I got pregnant. I miscarried the first time, which is really hard when you're trying as a single mom, because it's so much work to get to that point and so much money.
Right.
But I was very lucky that I didn't have any trouble getting pregnant the second time when I tried. And so I just turned 40 when I was pregnant, and I had her right before my 41st birthday.
Can I ask you
So
a question about that? Because I know a little bit about in vitro and how that works. Is it the same? Like, do you have to prepare your body, right? So you have to do hormone injections when you're accepting that or not?
So there's a couple, there's actually three options. So one, you can buy the sperm from the sperm bank, and they'll deliver it to you. And it looks like this like space age nitride container. It's like, and you can essentially, we call it the turkey baster method in the more informal terms, but you can use it yourself, or you can go to a clinic and they will insert it farther up, which is IUI, which generally has a better chance of success, or you can do in vitro. For me, I got very lucky that I was able to do the least invasive method. So it's kind of, that is part of the process of when you do choose to become a single mom by choice, like figuring out and going to a fertility doctor and what are going to be your options and what are your numbers and things like that. So it's definitely a process. But like I said, I was very lucky. So I was able to do it with the least invasive method. Yeah. And I have this amazing village of people. And that's one of the things I did was I told everybody. I was like, this is what I'm doing. I put it on Facebook. I told people and I had this amazing village. And I had a really good friend who went through all my hypnobirthing classes with me. And then I had another friend who drove down 8 hours when I went into labor. And that was my birthing team, along with this awesome doula that the hospital provided. And then it's been this amazing 4 or 5 years with her. And I really passionately believe that any woman who wants to have a child should be able to, and to not get hung up or wait till it's too late. And so towards that end now, I've started telling stories of other solo moms by choice that I put on my Medium blog. And I am trying to provide, I'm doing some TikTok videos and just trying to provide resources and support for any woman that's thinking of doing this.
Well, it's interesting that you're saying that now, considering what just happened with the Supreme Court. That seems like it might be not as easy for people to make those choices. Is that something that you're thinking about?
Well, what bothers me about there's so many things, but I think
We don't need to open up a whole can of worms, but
yeah, but it starts with the fact that, I know that my daughter has such an amazing life because I wanted her, because it was so intentional and I made those decisions. And if I had to have a child before I was ready, it wouldn't be good for her. It wouldn't be good for me. And so that's when I look at Roe versus Wade and I think, why would you ever force a woman to become a mother before she's ready? It's not fair to anybody. And you should always be able to make that choice about when and how you want to have a child. And so it's so tragic that there is the pro-forced birth people are trying to force us to make choices that we don't want to make and that we shouldn't have to make. It's our bodies and it's our choices.
Big government, and these are the people that don't want big government. And it's like, what I don't understand, and I'm Canadian, I live in Mexico, and I'm 58, so I'm like, and I made a choice not to have children. That was a choice.
Right.
But I don't understand how people can be okay with people telling how women what they should do with their bodies. That's I just don't get that part, because I know if it were on the other side, they would not be telling men what to do. It would never happen.
Right. Anytime anyone suggests a vasectomy, men are, whoa, what do you mean? What do you mean?
Oh, that's not gonna happen.
Telling me what to do with my body? How dare you? But it's not, it's about control. That's what the issue really is. But just as passionately as I wanted to have a child, and I should have the right to do that, someone who doesn't want to have a child should also have that right. Absolutely.
I know I really want to talk about you, but it's hard. I think it would be ridiculous for us to have this conversation the way it was going and not at least to discuss that part of it, because that's just happened in this past few days. If we had done this interview 10 days ago, we would not be discussing it at all. But it's so on everybody's mind, so I think it's a relevant thing to say. But so you became, so your market, would you say you're marketing to, sorry, I don't know that, what is it called? SMBC are the initials.
Yeah. And most people use the term single mom by choice. I like solo mom by choice just because I feel like there's still a lot of negative connotations around single and solo. It's like, it's a choice that I made. It's not, I didn't accidentally get pregnant. I didn't decide to keep a child. Like, I very intentionally did this. And it can refer to women who also intentionally choose to adopt, or it's not just, choosing that to get pregnant. But I mean, either way, you've made the intentional choice to raise a child as a solo or single parent. Is sort of how that definition goes.
Were you a freelance writer prior to this, and you're kind of meshing them together? Like, what is the relationship to your job? Let's put it that way.
No, I mean, mostly I do freelance writing, and then I also work as a school social worker. And so the freelance writing is on the side, and this is sort of my side passion project, where as I've gone through being the solo mom and talking with other women who are thinking about this, I am just so passionate about back to choice, having those choices. And I don't want any woman to miss out on that opportunity because, she's waiting or worried or thinks that she needs a partner. Really, you look at where women are now with careers and jobs and all of these things, and we're doing really great. And that idea back in the day when you needed that 2-person household just isn't really there anymore. And in many ways, honestly, it's like way easier because I don't have to deal with anybody else. I don't have to anyone else's expectations. If I come home and I'm tired, I don't have to fix food for anyone. I can order in, Emma and I can relax. Like the house can be the way I want.
Yeah, it
and
is.
and her and I have this amazing bond and this relationship. And she just goes, Mommy, we're just a mommy and me family. It's just you and me, baby. And I'm like, yeah, it's just you and me, baby.
But that's a fulfilling thing for her to say, because the way she said it is that's she's fulfilled. Like we're good. We're good with.
She doesn't feel there isn't a lack in her life. Her life is filled with her grandma and grandpa and my sister, her kids, our friends, family, the village. Like she's got everything. She's well taken care of.
I love it. So, because it's a short segment, I just want to make sure that I get it in. Like, who are you writing for? Like, where are you sharing your talent?
So really at this point, it's still a work in progress. There's a blog called medium.com and I have a publication on there called Choosing Motherhood. And I tell the stories of mothers by choice that I've interviewed. I was just working on one of this lady in Malaysia that's Portuguese, that's doing IVF. And it's like a fascinating story. It reads like a novel. So I write these stories of these different women and their different choices and how they came to be solo moms by choice. So I have that there. That's kind of my main outlet. For women that are considering it, there is a whole big Facebook group called Single Moms by Choice that they can look on for tons of resources, and another site called Motherhood Reimagined. So those are just some resources, or they can find me on LinkedIn and I will direct them to anything they need.
Okay. Do you have those links? Because I don't see links on your page. Do you have? You can add those to your page, you know that, right?
Yeah, I know. And I haven't because I think I'm more like, if people contact me, then I will reach out to them because I kind of have like a package of stuff, and it's not something I charge for, but like, it's just a kind of a list of resources. So
yeah, I get it. Absolutely. Well, what I want to say, do you have anything coming up that you want to promote? Anything special happening that you want the community to know about?
No, like I said, my idea, I think we connected because I'm looking at doing a TEDx on how families are changing. And so I think really for me, I am in the process of a lot of different things. That's sort of where I'm at.
That's okay. And I just want to make sure that if there is something, we get that in. But our time is up. I don't want to go over. First of all, thank you. This has been fascinating. Like, that's a lot of information in such a short time that I feel like I got educated, and I hope the community feels the same.
I hope
if
so.
you want to connect, work with, or follow Julie, her information is going to be on the header of this, and we'll see you again. If you ever want to come back and promote something, please let me know, and we'll do that. Okay?
Cool. All right. Thank you.